Hello and welcome everyone to the inaugural episode of Sam's 10-Minute Tuesdays, which Joe Templin and I created because sales is an activity game and introductions make it easy to win that game every day. So Joe, thanks for getting on this call today and being a real key part of this.
Anytime, my friend.
You know, why may I ask, are you so passionate about this industry?
Well, I'm passionate about the industry because of what happens if people don't have what we provide, which is guidance, planning, and ultimately financial security. You know, if anybody knows my background, I'm a physicist by background. I'm an author. You know, I've been highly successful in financial services. But the reason why I entered financial services was when I was finishing off my physics degree at RPI, I got one of the worst calls of my life that my godfather and namesake had died unexpectedly. Brilliant, brilliant engineer, no financial planning done. And because of the lack of financial planning, the 20-plus-year-old will, you know, the lack of communications and insurance and all that, the place where I grew up learning to hunt and fish, where I developed my work ethic that I carry to this day, was sold. And so my family farm was gone. But the worst part was how the family got fractured because of it. My mom and my godmother, her sister, who'd been so close, basically never talked again. At my wedding, they ignored each other. And when my mom was dying of cancer, she refused to allow her sister to come and see her. And because of that, I swore that if there was anything I could do to help other people and prevent this from happening to other families, I would do so. And that's why I entered the financial services field 25 years ago. And that's why I would pick up the phone when I didn't want to, or if somebody was mean to me, you know, I kept going, or I'd ask for the introductions. Why I ran the high activity business that I did was to be able to reach out and take care of other people like that. And in one of our future episodes, I'll give a follow-on to that story that reinforces it of what happened to my best friend, Rich. But that is why I care so deeply about our profession and helping other individuals maximize their performance because of what they can do out there in the community.
Yes, it is a very noble profession, you know, for that reason, because it's really the impact they're able to make in people's lives and on really on generations is really incredible. But I also want to highlight some of the reasons why I've stayed in it, because it's one thing to get in it, nothing to stay in it, and it's because of the people. You know, I don't know any other industry than the insurance and financial services industry that gives so unconditionally to each other. I mean, there's no other industry that I've been associated with, whether it be restaurant, automotive, other computer products, their telemarketing or mobile phones and that sort of stuff. No other industry gives so unconditionally to each other, whether the competitors, whether they're down the street, down the hall, or down a couple of floors. And we share best practices. We care about each other. It's really just a genuine, you know, wonderful group of people that care for others and to your point, watch out for their generations, almost advocates, if you will.
Right. And it's also a profession where we are constantly learning. I mean, I got a text earlier today from a group that I'm working with down in the Carolinas. It's mainly new reps. But one of them said something that I can take and use. And this is somebody who's been in the profession for 3 months, maybe, and I'm still learning from them. I remember when I was a new rep at training sessions and the old graybeards of Sam Hazelton, who was like one of the top performers in all of Northwestern, was sitting there taking notes because he wanted to get better. The day before he technically retired, he was sitting there taking notes to try and improve. And that made an incredible impression upon me on our opportunity to continue to grow as professionals and individuals for the entire rest of our lives.
Yeah, I love people like that, both inside this industry and outside of it that I've met over the years. remember reading one article many years ago about John Cougar Mellencamp, when he often the nickname Cougar, and he wanted to be more, I guess, look at the big picture and long term, and he committed himself to a lifelong self-improvement course. And that's what I'm on. And that's, to your point, that's what a lot of people are attracted to this industry, or sometimes they're attracted and sometimes they're inspired by other people like you were.
And I look at some of the big influences in my life, whether it was martial artists or musicians. Like, for example, my cello professor in high school, Rudolf Doblin, who fled Nazi Germany, came here, founded the Buffalo Symphony. He used to just impress upon me the importance of practice. And one of the things that he said was, if I don't practice one day, I know. If I don't practice 2 days, the public knows. If I don't practice 3 days in a row, or if I don't practice 2 days in a row, the critics know. If I don't practice 3 days in a row, the public knows. And so he never went more than a day without picking up and practicing his craft. And that's something that I still do today. Even if I actually take a vacation day, I'm still practicing every single morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason why I've gotten to be even halfway decent in this industry. Because as you can see, I've got movie star good looks. You know, I've got a wonderful personality. You know, I have the social skills of a jellyfish, you know, but I know how to work hard. I know how to practice. I know how to improve. So if I could go from, you know, the cowboy boot wearing paisley tie, pink shirt kid who walked in as a college intern to Northwestern in 1995 to, okay, I still wear ugly shirts. That's beside the point. Somebody who can actually carry on a conversation with another human being and convince them to make some changes to improve themselves. That's not because I took a magical pill. That's because I had good trainers early on who taught me how to start improving. And I practiced, and I ran a very, very high activity business and made lots of mistakes that I learned from. And if it weren't for my Blue Sam, you know, group planners and my Green Sam book from 1995 that I still have, that I looked at to improve myself across all forms, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd be some, you know, schmuck working in a lab.
You know, on that note, and with the couple minutes that we have left, I know you and I had a lot of reasons why we want to make it just a 10-minute, you know, 10-minute Tuesdays. And to that point, we're trying to help people grow. You know, we're trying to inspire them, educate them in just a 10-minute time period in bite-sized chunks, give them a little bit of inspiration. But maybe you could explain a little more about that. What was tell whoever's listening today, what was some of your rationale why we want to do it in 10 minutes?
Because, you know, that is partially the attention span that people have. You know, attention spans have gotten shorter and shorter. 10 minutes is roughly the main amount that people can take, but it's enough to squeeze it in around other things. You maximize your performance not necessarily by doing all the big things, but by avoiding wasting time for a couple of minutes. So in that 10-minute trip while you're going into the office, you can get a dose of motivation and education. You know, while you're waiting in line at the bank or at the coffee shop, you can consume some of this and get that little bit of fire in the belly or new idea that you can apply. You know, you can adopt this while you're cooking dinner. You know, it takes 10 minutes for the pasta to be cooked. Hey, right. Squeeze this in so that you can maximize your day.
Yeah, I like that comment about fire in the belly. One of the most successful car dealers I know has a chain of Lexus dealerships, always looks for that fire in the belly. But we all need a little bit of inspiration from the outside, which is why I think sessions like this are going to be great to inspire and educate people, our peers, our fellow industry professionals, to help them keep going, get going, and keep going. Help them achieve, to get on track and stay on track. So, Joe, hey, thank you very much for joining the call today. Any last 5 seconds worth of advice?
Push hard every day.
Right.
Don't stop.
And remember, sales is an activity game, and in introductions, make it easy to win the game every day. Thanks again for joining us.
Talk soon.